John Carpenter, Back to the Streets, from one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. What's that from? They Live. R6 Pro, the top of the line Hiby player, and the TH909's out to play because I think it deserves it. So, are you here for the gathering? This is the gathering of the Hibys. We've got the R3 Pro, the R5 non-Pro, because the Pro doesn't exist, and the R6 Pro, because there is a non-Pro version of the R6, but I couldn't find a non-Pro version of the R3, so I don't know what's going on. How are you doing? It's 2:30 in the morning, by the way, and I'm doing all three of these in a row because my head's focused now. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I don't have that song. I need that song in FLAC. So, what this review is going to be is about the R6 Pro. But I said in the other two reviews of these two items that I'm going to bring them back in for this video for a full roundup comparison of why you would go for either one of them. I'm probably going to do that throughout. So let's just quickly run over the R6 Pro. And if you ran over the R6 Pro with a tank, it'd probably be fucking fine, because they come in two varieties, aluminum and stainless steel. And this is the stainless steel one. Actually, that's plastic. Glass. It's a glass back. This one's purple stainless steel, actually. You can see by all the fingerprints on it, and I've tried to clean it. And I've tried to clean it and keep it clean, and it doesn't matter. It looks terribly disgusting. But my God, holding it in your hands. It weighs... yeah, about that much. I'm not joking. I am not fucking with you. The R6 Pro weighs as much as the R5 and the R3 and a Motorola Z2 Force, all stacked on top of each other. The FIO M15, which was their flagship player, I congratulated them on not making it super heavy like Sony does. Sony, literally, their top-of-the-line player weighs like 3 pounds, and it's the same size as the M15. They just take a piece of copper and they machine out copper so that it just weighs a lot. And it's not like it's like the structural integrity matters to the sound, but when you pick that up at an audio show, you're like, oh my God, it's so heavy. This must be quality. And I'm pausing now for an excessively long period of time because I'm having an internal conflict. On one hand, I think making a portable player this fucking dense for no reason, we know there's no reason, you and I and her, we know there's no reason to make it heavier. You can make it out of carbon fiber. It's not keeping the harmonics from shaking it. It's not like moving bits that, like a precision machine with moving parts, you need to make that out of the stiffest, best materials so nothing slides or becomes inaccurate. This is all solid state. You could put this in a plastic bag and it'd be fine. So they put it in stainless steel, a very heavy fucking chunk of stainless steel. And you pick it up and you go, God, this is too heavy to carry around. But at the same time, my animal brain is going, God, this feels quality. It's a conflict. I'm smart enough to know it doesn't need to weigh this much. But I'm dumb enough to know that I like the way it feels in the hand. It's like, this is what men pick up. Men pick it up and they punch other men and then they conquer galaxies. Because it weighs so fucking much. You can get it in aluminum too, by the way. You can get it in aluminum or stainless steel. And this is purple stainless steel. Which, this is $800. We're not on Zeos Platinum. Hiby does not make a Zeos Platinum level player, which is over $1,000. But it feels like it should be. So we've got full Android 8.1 running on a screen that is Gorilla Glass and a higher resolution than the 5 because it's obviously bigger than the 5. However, we're going to get to one of the things I don't like. I'll go back to this. One of the things I noticed, I'm going to do a real quick comparison. When I was using this, I was like, okay, good. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full tracks. Because of the fatter, wider screen on this, you can only see 4 tracks. I was like, why does it seem like I'm so much more constricted? It's because the taller screen on this lets you see more. So, I mean, take your pick. Moving along, the actual physical body, besides having, I want to tell you that it feels fantastic, and don't worry about it for the fingerprints. That it comes with this, with the case, just like the other ones come with the fucking case. Unlike the other ones, though, where the holes are cut, so you could touch the physical buttons, this uses the rubber nipple technique, where you literally can't touch the unit anymore. It's just, these are rubber caps. So I might put it in that before the end of the review. I probably won't. This is another, I'll explain again in case you weren't paying attention on the Hiby R5. I'm a reviewer, and I have to sit here and touch these things. And if you're going to take the unit out every day, absolutely put it in this protective case and keep it safe, and you know, don't want to get hurt. But if you can, you have the opportunity to just hold it in your hand and feel the stainless, like there's something about the way this just feels. Like when I pick up the cheap one, it's like, oh, it's metal. When you pick this up, it's like, oh, it's just metal. And it's amazing. So again, it's going to be 50, no matter who you are and what you think you know, you're going to either simultaneously love and hate the weight, or simultaneously hate and love the weight. It's the same thing. It's going to go down. And it's that material. It's that solid. I know if I get a sword and I hit this, it's not going to damage. It's going to put a chip in the stainless steel, and that's it. I just wish I can keep it cleaner, but I'm Italian, so I can't do that. Buttons. Here they are. Finally, correct buttons. Because I was complaining about them on these two, where they still haven't made one concave and one convex, so you can't tell them apart. It's the same problem, but they're all concave, so they're all down and flat. They don't feel like this button, this power button on the 5, sticks up so damn much. I'm like, oh no, where this is just nice and flush and flat. It actually is a little bit harder to tell apart the play, pause, next track, last track, because even though the play, pause is bigger, like it is on this one, that was sticking out and this is not, so it's a little bit harder to feel. A little more reach around. Your power button is here, your power screen button is there. I really got to clean this screen. I'm wondering if there's just cheese on this rag at this point. If I haven't cleaned the rag long enough, that just needs cheese. Not the man, the food. So it's exactly the same layout as the Hiby 5, except on the bottom is only USB-C, which has been put through this giant piece of stainless steel, and your outputs are on the top, which I don't like, which is like the Hiby R3 has the outputs on the top, but Hiby R3 has the option to rotate the whole player 180 degrees, which means it puts the connections on the bottom. But guess what? This is not the Hiby R3, so your connections are on the top. Which, fine. I'm fine with that. I prefer them on the bottom, but with the weight of this player, like the physical weight of it, putting this monstrosity on it changes almost nothing because there's so much weight hanging off the ass of it. I'll call this the ass of it. This is the ass. Go away, volume. The top. Back out to this. 4.4 balanced Pentacon, 3.5 unbalanced headphone, straight up headphone jack, and then there's another third port for a line out or coaxial digital out. So they have a dedicated line out coaxial digital out port. And then your volume buttons, and there's your single SD card again. Another, if you're a storage freak, this comes with about 512. I think the space is like 512 gigs. Which is pretty good. Like I was talking about internal storage and who uses it, but that's a sizable amount. Let me see what's actually free on this. Hold on. Batteries at 22%. Storage, 26% used, 23 gigs free. So what does that come out to? So it's a 64. No, that's, so I'm wrong. It's only a 32 gig. Then there's portable storage is my external, which is a 64 gig. Yeah, Beastie Boys. For some reason, when I go to the website here, it says to me, oh, that's wallpapers. You guys don't want those. They're available in the description or on my Patreon and subscribe stuff, but you don't want them. When I go here, and oh my God, the specs list of this thing. Where does it say? It says something like greater than 512. Or maybe it says less than 512. Yeah. Oh, that's a micro SD card. My bad. It's only got 32 gigs. Oh, well. You're screwed. Yeah, so M11 is still going to be the one you want if you want to carry around 2 giant micro SD cards. Sorry, everyone. Close that. Close settings. Close files. Close audio settings. That's it for physical. I like the color. I do not like the way the finish holds up to fingerprints, but I feel like if they change the finish, it wouldn't feel like this. Like, I don't know, polished raw aluminum. I don't know how they get the color either. How do you get, or stainless steel, how do you get that to be purple? So, I'm done talking about the physicality of it. It's just, I'm holding it with one hand. It's not like it's impossible to hold. As long as you're a strong, person that has wrists that have been exercised over years and years of use, you can hold it. But if I was wearing my pajama pants, like I always am, and I put this in my right pocket, I'm going to be in the nude very soon. It's just going to pull my pants straight down. So yeah, this is ridiculously heavy. Let's walk past that now. Since you have the full line-out coaxial out, they've decided finally to include not just a USB cable, but the coaxial adapter cable, which is here and still has the plastic wrapped around it. It's a 4-pole, which I'm not sure why. Ugh. And it goes to his RCA connector, and that's just it. You plug it to an external DAC. I guess. I know at audiophile shows, at CanJam, things like that, that's what they use. They run their $800 portable into a $3,000 DAC, and that $3,000 DAC into a $2,000 amp, onto $2,000 headphones. All of a sudden, you're like, holy fuck, my car isn't worth this much. But if you wanted to hook it up to like your surround sound, if for some reason you didn't have any other way to get music to a separate system, digital's the way to do it. Although, I will say that if you use the line out on this, it's probably cleaner than most of the DACs you have. If you're like $100 DAC, I'd rather have the analog output of this playing it, because it's good. It's real good. All right, moving on to the Android effect. Samsung SD card, transferring photos. Go away, Android system. I hate when it tells me that. Why is Bluetooth on also? So settings, just straight up settings, is straight up Android settings. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. The audio settings, like we had on the 5 here, are very, very similar, except one thing. There is now, actually, wait a second, might be 2 things. 1 second. God damn it. Punch everyone in the throat. So yeah, this has low pass filter settings, common output, balanced output, gain, plugins, MSEB. This does not have plugins anymore. So that thing where I went through that whole thing and found plugins is gone. We still have the low pass anti-aliasing filter. We only have 3. Here we have 4 options. Here we have 3. So we're going to go with minimum phase because I don't hear a difference anyway, and it sounds like fun. Then we have the multifunction output, which is either a line out or SPDIF. So you have to choose which one that does. Then your gain, high and low. Very simple. I have it on low gain, by the way. Then this is not on this. Tonality. So this player has a tonality pull down in Android, which means, again, it'll work for every app you use on it. Default, reference, warm, and tube amp. I currently have it set to warm. And then I had it set to tube amp. And then I had it set to reference. And I had it set to default. And I was having a goddamn impossible time trying to tell them apart. Like, I don't know. I thought these would be the ones to tell me because they're so narrow. They're not really affected by the space. So it's like accuracy. But then I pulled these out and I'm like, all right, let's see if my 909s maybe can whip out that detail retrieval that I love them for and tell me what's going on. I can't tell difference. Maybe you can. Maybe you want to know that it's almost impossible to pick this up like this because of the weight. You have to like really get under it. So, I mean, I could leave it on reference. First of all, what's the difference between default and reference? Wouldn't the default be reference? Like flat? Like tone dead? Like, wouldn't that be the harmonics you'd want? Default? Because there's nothing describing default harmonics. At least I understand what the word reference means. The word reference means flat. That's it. That's the reference sound. And then warm is slightly warm undertones to the mid bass and lows, sort of boost those up, maybe crop the highs out a little bit. And then tube amp. Well, here's the thing. If a tube amp could be recreated by an equalizer, we wouldn't need tube amps. So what are you doing on tube amp? How is your harmonics? There are things that happen in a tube amp that you could probably fake. The way that the low end is reproduced, the way that it sort of hangs in there, like it rings out a little bit longer. That's what gives tubes their flavor. But I don't think you could ever replace a tube, a physical thing that warms up and changes with the fuck. If the sun hits it, it's different with something like this. But I mean, it's there. I'm going to put this back on reference, by the way, just because whatever default is, which should be reference, but now I'm putting a reference instead of default, which should be reference. Then we skip that one. DSD gain compensation, channel balance, max volume. Again, max volume is a really nice option to have, especially with these more powerful players, which, by the way, I should talk about power for a split second. The 5 is more powerful than the 6. This puts out over a watt at 16 ohms balanced. This only puts out 750 milliwatts at 16 ohms balanced. That's fine. Listen to me. You, listen to me. I'm the captain now. More power isn't always better. Say it with me. I'm putting my hand to my ear, by the way. When you get a projector, a home theater projector, the amount of lumens will do this. When you look at the price range, $500 projectors, $700, $900, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 projector in that order. The lumens will do this: $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 lumens, $2,000 lumens, $1,500 lumens. As you get more expensive, as that projector becomes more quality, the lumens go down. It gets darker. Because by getting darker, they can make the black levels blacker. There's a balance between all things. Using a crown speaker amp to power your headphones might sound like a good idea because you've got 1,500 watts, or actually be 750 per channel if you used one, not twin. But maybe you don't need to have so much power. Like, I absolutely praise the 5 for being able to put out a fucking watt. Shit. But because everything in this unit is tuned to be higher quality, the DAC chips are different, the capacitors are different, the amp, they literally have pictures of it. Here, I'm going to drag the goddamn slider bar. Oh, look, there's the Panasonic tantalum POSCAP capacitors. The power supply comprises of 4 200 microfarad and 6 47 microfarad, in total 10 Panasonic capacitors with incredible low ESR. So you got to understand what we're looking at here. This is all the little fucking things that they could have done to any of these players actually done. Elna capacitors from Japan put in there. And by putting all this high-end stuff in it, they just couldn't squeeze out the extra power. In fact, this is going to be real odd. Hold on, let me scroll down to where it says it. This is a comparison chart here between the R6, which I don't have here, and the R6 Pro. Now, you would think that every number would be better on the R6 Pro, but it's not. Total harmonic distortion is actually worse on the Pro. And the power is actually, and the power doubles. 300 milliwatts on the R6 and 750 on the Pro. But it loses like total harmonic distortion plus noise. And I've never seen so many zeros. 0.000008, 5 zeros between the decimal point and the fucking number. This one only has 0.0012. That's like 1,000 times more. How many more times more fucking distortion? I mean, it's still 0.0012, but it doesn't matter because everything leading up to it is cleaner. And this is producing twice as much power as the R6, but the R5, if I go back to that goddamn graph, where is it? 1,000 times more. 1,000 times more fucking distortion. I mean, it's still 0.0012, but it doesn't matter because everything leading up to it is cleaner. And it's producing, this is producing twice as much power as the R6, but the R5, if I go back to that goddamn graph, where is it? because the R5 has the same graph at the bottom, the same comparison between the R5 and the R6, not the R6 Pro. And it's just like, this is me for like an hour before these reviews, is just going through the numbers going, do I have to remember all this? Do I have to remember that this has a 10-band EQ, but this one has plus 12 and that one is plus, oh wait, but that's a 10 says E. Like, they're giving me a migraine. These people are giving me a migraine with how they've laid out this chart, because you can't even compare against the one you want to compare, which is the 6 Pro and not the 6 and the 5. Stop. Back to anime backgrounds. These are simple. I like simple, clean lines. So, MSEB. Do not make me talk about MSEB again. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to reset it. Okay. In case you missed the other 2 reviews, this is your first time here at Z Reviews. Hi. Sometimes I do clusters of reviews, and I talk about a lot of stuff, like in the Hiby R3. And I'm going to reference that stuff I talked about here in the Hiby R6, even though I talked about it already in the 5 and 3. So MSEB is the most what's the words I'm looking for? They do too fucking much. It's like if you go out with your girlfriends to get a tattoo, right? And, you know, it's going to be cute and it's going to be fun. And you come back and you are both arms full sleeve, and you got those implants in your forehead that give you like horns, and every part of your labia is pierced. Just the whole thing. Looks like a chain. All right? That's what this is doing as far as the tweaks it can make for sound. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 sliders. And it goes from overall temperature to bass extension to bass texture to note thickness to voice to female overtones, sibilance, high frequency and low frequency, then impulse response, then air. And you're switching between not just 0 and 1 or 0 and 100, it's at 50. It's like cool or warm or bright or dark, either one of those, and light and deep, fast and thumpy, crisp and thick, recessed and forward or crisp and radio edit. How is that the other side of crisp is radio edit? And then you get female overtones, and the motherfucker goes from detox to intoxicating. Right? And then it's crisp and soft. And like, you can have crisp and soft, and then up here you have crisp and thick. And then wasn't there another crisp? No, I think we're out of crisps. Yeah, you want to know the worst thing? And I figured this out from the R6, and it applies to the R5, so making a slight alteration. You have this option here for the actual Android MSEB, which also, I didn't point this out before. There's a little gear that if you press it, you have the slider range settings. So yes, you can slide from soft to crisp or from detox to intoxicating, but you could set the tune to it. You could set how much that affects it. And you have the options of -20 to 20, which is fine tuning, middling, which is 40 to 40, which means you're middling literally means you're middling with it. Why are you meddling with this? It's like when you're just fucking with someone's computer, like I like to do, because everything has to be the way I do it. And then they fucking have excessive, which is -100 to 100. So why is that even an option when even on fine tuning this stuff is too strong? And you ready for the fucking grand finale of, like, I'm going over, this is gonna be this is a great player. I'm gonna recommend it, but I want to yell some more. So let's say you set it to excessive. Yeah, load, okay. Save. Escape. Let's say you turn it on here in Android, and you set one of the options, bass, note thickness. Let's say you set that to 100, and it's on. Now, let's go into the Hiby app. Pull out the sidebar. Hey, look, there's another MSEB. Hey, wait, it's completely disconnected from the one on Android. Hey, look, note thickness. I could put that up to 100. You can double the effect. Double it. Double it. You could run a profile on the Android one and then come into the actual software one and run it again, or try to negate it with it it's like I understand why. Because this MSCB thing is a software thing. You can get your straight up Android phone, which by the way is currently set to control this phone because we're using the Hiby link. I'm just going to keep these plugged in now that I've talked about things. Oh God, my bass overtones. I don't want to blow anything up because these might just explode with like tripled up bass overtones. Oh, periapt cables. Okay. There's my volume control, so I can actually control the volume. If this will ever go away. Yes, I get it. I get it. Go away. I'm going to disable the MSCB just because I really need that to not blow anything up. There we go. And I've already said, you only use MSCB if you hate your headphones. Now, all being told, these headphones are amazing, and I love that I put the Yaxi pads on and they're clean, but I do like them a little bit more on a tube amp. So I could take that and specifically take the highs and just quell them a little bit. Or just not use, you know, this amplifier to power these and find some other amplifier. But there's reasons for things and there's reasons not to have things. And that's like you hate yourself and your headphones if you use that. That's what I'm saying. All right, back to this. So this and this are connected. There's literally an option. Change that over. Next track. When you get the Hiby app, this Hiby client, you have a Hiby client and Hiby server, and you can just directly control either one. And you can go either way too. You could have this control my phone. Now, I don't know. This would probably work out if you're using the Coaxial output and you had this hooked up in your office to your desktop audio. One of the places I was thinking about doing this was if I had this next to like my powered monitors. I have a set of those wonderful Kanto Tux. Zeos, link to Kanto Tux in the description. And I believe they have a coaxial input, coaxial digital. So I can just plug this into this, leave this player next to my speakers, pick up my phone. What happened to the Hiby music? Jesus Christ. What is happening? On. Hiby wanted to access that. Sorry, this is the reviews. Everything happens for a reason. Hiby music. Okay. All while I'm listening to Tool, and it's probably loud enough to hear through the camera, and it's probably going to get my demonetization. Please join Patreon and subscribe star, so I don't have to fucking worry about monetization. Anyway, we're back to Tool's Schism. Okay, great. Next track. So, legitimately, you could leave all your music on this, then take your empty phone. This phone is empty. It's a backup phone of mine. Take an empty phone and just control it. It's remote control. It's an Android remote control is all it comes down to. And I have everything. I have all the music on here, even though it's not actually on here. And it plays pretty instantly. Aggressive expansion. Let's skip forward. Yeah. Boom. And you could switch the view. You could either have the round progress bar or the long progress bar. I kind of like this. This feels much more modern. Have like the entire side be next and last track. And you can just pull down like an old iPod. God, this sounds fucking good. We should probably talk about that. Are we almost done with like the little tiny things that it does differently? Because all I'm doing is telling you the small little details. 15% battery. Yeah, no shit. Close, close, close. Down. Over. There's really not much else that's new. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to pause it there so I can pause it here. Replay gain. Oh, I did mention replay gain on the 5 was lacking any options other than on and off or track and album. If you put it on here, you do get a fixed gain for track without replay gain slider. And the problem is putting on replay gain lowers everything. Like it should. That's what the replay gain should do. It finds the average loudness of a song, makes a number, and attaches it to the thing. This way, when you play your music, loud songs get quieter, and quiet songs basically stay where they are. The problem with that is some loud songs just need to be loud, and if you don't have enough power in your player, you can't adjust for it. Now I have it currently off, and then you could set the fixed gain for tracks without replay gain up to 4, and now if I hit play on this track again, it's actually not bad. It's about the same volume. I've had a couple tracks where it was obviously a louder song. Replay gain saw it as loud, and when I turned on replay gain, it was like quiet. It was quiet. When I run my replay gain on foobar, I tell it to jack it up until right before clipping. So quiet songs get louder instead of loud songs getting quieter, because it's a little more consistent that way, and you can't do it with these sort of settings. This all being said, this sounds amazing. Like, this is all you've come here for. You don't care about how heavy it is. I mean, you should care. Unless you're putting it on your desk and never moving it, you should care about how heavy it is. But I've got, $1,800 headphones plugged into it right now. And I would absolutely think these are playing to this is what they're good at. I believe this is it. They're not lacking because they're on a portable. The PAW 6000 was like a $1,300 player. The M15 is like a $1,400 player. This is anywhere from $650 to $800 depending on where you're looking at it. And it competes. So that's a thing. That puts this in the sort of range of like, oh, well, that's a bargain. So even though it's twice as much as this, and I'm probably, if I'm skipping ahead a little bit to the end, this is $200. This is $400 on Amazon, but it's $300 on their website. And this is $800 on Amazon, or $650 on Amazon, or $650 on their website. This is probably the best buy. I know it's Android, and not everyone needs Android, but it sounds legitimately more powerful. I mean, blatantly more powerful than the R3 Pro. The R3 Pro is their newest one, by the way. I believe it's Bluetooth 5, where this one and this one are only Bluetooth 4.2. And the R3 Pro is probably the one I would take outside with me or use for just controlling random Bluetooth devices. But if I'm taking high-end headphones and not like random IMs, I want what the 5 can do. Now take that quality and up it by 4.63%. Exactly 4.63%. Everyone loves numbers on the internet. Zeos, when you going to rank these, give them a soundstage rating between 1 and 10. Fuck you. No. 4.3% is exactly enough for me to say, wait, I think I like this better. All I have to do is think I like it better. Don't have to, it's not as blatant as going from 3 to 5. That was a big jump of power. A lot of oomph behind the source now. But going from this to this is it's like having a brand new car and it's sort of dusty, and then taking it and having it perfectly detailed and there's no swirls. And it's the same beautiful new car, but you just see it and it glows and you're like, wow, the tires shine and ooh. That's what this adds. This goes that little bit beyond what is great and makes it their flagship. All the like Japanese caps and this multiple Panasonic thing, you can hear it. You can feel it. Is that worth double to you though? Zeos is a realist. Not everyone can throw $800 out to listen to the Birdman OST. Slightly better on their Japanese insane dynamics. I'm gonna unplug this now. Give me this. Actually, these are super efficient, so shouldn't be a problem. These, however, you know, you get used to like things, and then you change over to something else, and it's like, oh god, and oh yeah, more power. By the way, this is using Wi-Fi, not Bluetooth to connect. I think you can use Bluetooth, but these are both in the same Wi-Fi network because they're both connected to Wi-Fi. And that's what's allowing them to show the two exactly matching everythings. And I love how the volume control on the actual thing adjusts. And it'll eventually update that. A warmer screen, probably a more accurate screen. I'm just going to take this moment to show Interstate 76 twice and a waifu. Because that's like my perfect thing. If I got a tattoo, by the way, little bit of Zeos trivia. If I ever got a tattoo, because I don't have any, it'd be an Interstate 76 tattoo. I don't know where I'd get it or what it would be. If it could be the whole logo on my back, just like Steve-O thing. That was the greatest game that had ever been, ever. And I will talk about it till the day I die is Interstate 76. Look it up. And the soundtrack is glorious. Yeah, no, things sound Oh, Hellsing displayed. Of all the three of these players, I think the best buy is the 5. It's right there. If it's at 400, it's like it's right in the M11 like zone. It's more powerful than the M11. But do you need more power for the M11? Like it's one of those. It's like and then it doesn't have the like the battery life for 1100 hours. So the FIO has its points. But when it's $300 like it is currently, that's a fucking no-brainer. No-brainer. This one right here. The R3 you're going to get. R3 Pro you're going to get if you're just interested in the company Hiby. If you just need a portable player that's small, that's this form factor, that comes with a lot of accessories, it's $200. This will suit your needs. It sounds good. Great for IEMs. IEMs mostly. Because I'm running some heavy-duty hitters here, and it'll push this at 100% on high gain. It'll push T50s. But you don't want to ever push something at 100%. You want to push it easy. Easy peasy, Japanese. You want it to be nice and that's where the 1 watt of insanity comes in from this. And you get the 4.4 and it's got acrylic tops and bottom. It's worth the doubling of the cost. This is your starter one. This is worth the doubling of the cost. Then this, I'm gonna say, is worth the doubling of the cost again. As much as I want to save everyone money, if you can afford the R6 Pro, you R6 Pro. It's beautiful. It's probably going to stick around. I'm probably going to... Now I have the Paw 6000, the FIO M15, and now the R6 Pro. And I put them in the same category as each other, even though this is so much cheaper at $800. But it's so much cheaper than those, and I think does a fucking nearly the same job. And the fact that it's Android 8.1 means I can just throw Plus Messenger on here and use it to talk to my patrons in my $10 Patreon chat. Or actually, it's a $10 supporter chat because Patreon and Subscribestar allow you to both access that. Should I go to the end credits? Are we done? Have I said my piece? I think I've said my piece. I'm done talking about these. And I didn't put it in the case because you know what? Fuck the case. I don't care if it looks dirty. If you never see this finish with your eyes and you just feel it with your hands, it's worth it. Worth it. I hate how heavy it is, but I love how it feels in the hand. It's fuck. Anyway, yes, Hellsing. Hellsing OVA from the... Oh. We're done? We're done. I'm done. I gotta stop talking. It's fucking 3 in the morning. 3:13 a.m. It's It's when Zeos works his best. That wallpaper in the description. All wallpapers ever on the Patreon and Subscribe Star. There's links there when you join. You can look up the original artists if you want, using Sauce Now or IQDB. $5 tiers get you into the yard sale. I have 3 Hiby players. I can't keep them all. 1 or 2 of these will be in the yard sale from the 1st to the 10th. I have to decide what I'm changing out. I probably would also sell this Fio M9 because that's basically that, so I would keep that instead of the M9, so maybe that'll be in the yard sale. And headphones that I've purchased in the last, X amount of months will be in the yard sale. And from the 1st to the 10th, you get to bid. It's a blind silent auction. Good luck. You get to ask me any questions you want on platform. Do you have a question? Hey, Zeos, I just bought this, this, and this. How do I hook it up to this? You could ask me on Patreon. You could ask me on Subscribe Star. I come back once a week, maybe twice a week. I will check those questions. Sorry, I can't get my head around doing it more than that. Also, again, like I said, $10 Patreon tier. You just join Telegram once you're in there, and there's 200 people that all know exactly what you need, and they will sell it to you because they are better salesmen than I am. Apparently, it's insane. There's people who literally post a list. Hey, welcome to the group. Do you have any of these items? Because you need to own all of these. And they're not going light. They're like Andromedas. Do you have $1,000 IMs? So I'm like, whoa. So that's it. We got that $5 tier, $10 tier. And then the higher tiers will be used in the future. And I'm talking about selling things in the yard sale, but I may hold off on a few items going in the yard sale so that you can use the higher tiers of my Patreon or Subscribe Star to put your name down on a mailing list, and you will get a box of stuff from me to try for a set number of days and then send to the next person in that higher tier. That hasn't worked out yet as far as logistics, but it's going to be a thing. I keep announcing it, just like I announced Axpona, but now Axpona is in August. As long as the world doesn't die before August, I will see you at Axpona. Finally, and I'm going to do this, I did it every review. We're going to look at what we have up here. Oh, R6 Pro, R5, R6 Pro, but $100 less because it's aluminum. I don't think it changes cost due to the material, but maybe it does. Maybe it's worth $100 more to have stainless steel. Hi-Fi guys, if you haven't checked out that site, this was set up by DMS and I and DMS, because I paid for the fucking thing. It's basically we're adding different categories right now. So if you want headphones, here's your headphones. You want in-ear monitors, here's in-ear monitors. You answer the questions, what's your price range? You only want to spend... Wow, you really can't see it once you get past 100. We should really adjust that from 2000 to be smaller. All right, let's just drag it down. There you go. $39, the final Elite 2000s. But I want V-shaped. There's only one option, and it's out of your price range. It's the FA7s. Really? We only have one V-shaped IM? That doesn't make any sense. We'll fix it. It's a work in progress. Link in the description. And also check out the forums, because look at this. This is insanity. That's just the music talk section. Let's go to the off-topic section. What are these people talking about? I hope you are all doing fine. 2020 has been reasonably worst year so far. Many things happened to those things. Volcanic eruption. Wow, this guy's literally going through shit that's terrible. And then the gifts show up. I approve of this. I like my little forum family. They're great. And of course, again, wallpaper. You could take this, download it, links in the description, crop it out, put it on your phone, or put on one of your Hiby players. You could literally, it's an imager link. You can send that to your portable player, and you could open it up on Quick Picks or whatever viewer you want to download for your 8.1 Android, crop it there and set it as the wallpaper. In fact, you know what? Once this review is over, I'm going to sign into my Play Store, because I don't usually do that until I'm done. Because if I'm going to sell it, if I haven't decided if I'm selling something or not, I won't log in because then my credentials are there. I'm going to log in. I'm going to get my messengers. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to use this player more now that it's done than I did prepping for this review. You don't need much time with the player to understand how great it is. That's a good sign. When I struggle to understand the reasons for something, it's I pick it up. Blatantly easy and obvious. I love how this review has continued on past the end credits. I'm not very good at this whole YouTube thing. I'll get the hang of it by year 10. Anyway, I'm going to go shut these off now. I'm going to charge this. Still at 15%. It seems to pause at like 15%. Maybe because it's not actually powering the headphones now. They're not running. I charged it from 15 to 21. I went from 21 to 15. Now we're stopped again. Anyway, I'm done here. I hope you guys are done here. These are the long reviews, and I apologize for making them so long. Unless you don't want me to make them shorter. Some people would love that. Maybe I should put mid-rolls. It'd make a fortune. But I don't like ads. So if you don't like ads like I don't like ads, support me in some other way. Visit me on Twitch and throw bits at my butt. Or her butt. Anyone's butt. We all got butts. We done now? I'm done. I'm going to go hang my headphones back on the wall, except for you guys. You're coming with me. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow.